You tell me.
It's the next chemo.
You're gonna be brave?
Yes.
Oh.
You put numbing cream on, so it'll feel fine, right?
Are you afraid in any way?
No. This is the easy part, right?
Do you feel any different?
No.
Is this lens fogging up? Oh my god, we're all fogged up here. Oh man, this is an interesting effect. Do you feel any different?
No, just tired from all that Benadryl.
So you just want to go to sleep?
Yes.
That's good life, isn't it?
To go to sleep. I feel like I'm on Violet and Murray.
You feel like Violet and Murray?
Yeah.
Well, I hope it's no different than last time.
Me too. I should have done that thing.
And after you've had a nap, you're gonna shoot another 5 weddings in 110 degrees weather.
Yeah.
Yesterday when we asked Siri what the weather would be like today, she just said it's going to be fair. That was the skimpiest weather forecast answer. Now when we ask Siri about the weather for the rest of the day, she said there's some bad weather coming up. "77 and thunderstorm." I'll take 77 and thunderstorm over 91 and humid anytime.
Because you don't know what I mean to you.
You know, the weather has been so sucky, I don't even know when was the last time we were showing any of this bay.
I know, because we haven't come down here. It's so hot. We should sit right here.
I hope we're not boring you guys to death with this subject, but I have a question for you. What have you learned from the cancer fight so far?
I personally feel that people have spent way too much time and money trying to find a cure that never seems to come. And I feel like they should be spending that time and money on finding out why people are getting the disease. If everybody was getting malaria, doesn't it help to find out what the source of malaria is? If we all knew that going in our backyard we had been affected by these mosquitoes, like we know if we travel to a foreign country, a tropical area, there are certain areas in the world that are full of malaria and you need to get a vaccine for it to prevent yourself from getting malaria. With cancer, we have no idea what causes it, and there's very, 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 very little money being spent to figure out what causes it. There's nothing done. Like I told you, I feel like when I say I have cancer, don't you think that they should say, where have you lived for the past 5 years? We know that Delaware has high incidences of cancer, higher than most other states in the country, maybe the highest, I can't remember exactly. So obviously the environment of Delaware is a risk factor of getting cancer. So how about we make a database that says this neighborhood really seems to have a lot of cancer, but they don't even try to make that database. They don't even try to say, look at this area has like a risk factor of 1 in 3 to getting cancer versus the rest of Delaware is 1 in 10. So something is happening right here. They don't try to do that. None of the products that we use, nobody asks you any questions about what has your life been like in order to get this. And I believe cancer, while there are genetic risk factors, all those genetic risk factors are like saying you have an open door, but something has to go in the door. And we don't know what is going in these doors. And nobody's trying to figure it out. And that pisses me off.
Maybe you should start that database and make the first step.
I feel like I need a lot of really smart people to help me figure out how to make the database something that I know once you do something like that, it's going to be ridiculed and talked about how it has no scientific basis. I would love to have a group of people who knew how to make it have a scientific basis and make it more worthwhile.
But nobody who has achieved something great hasn't achieved it without pissing anybody off.
But I think I could do it better if I had people who knew more about
Did that sentence I said even make sense?
Yes, but you're missing something amazing.
I feel for you because you don't know what I mean to you. Why you still pretending to?
What do you think we should be doing better or differently?
You mean who? Us? You and me?
Us as a society. Like, how do we battle this?
I think that we should still try to find cancer cures, but I also think that we're being morons, absolute morons, by not trying to find out what causes it, because it's a growing problem. It's not like it's a problem that just, okay, it's a static number and then we find the cure and now we can drop it out. It's a growing problem, so something is making it worse and worse and worse. And it's not an old people problem, because I am evidence of that, and I'm not the only evidence of that. Look at, there's babies that come out with cancer. What the hell? What's causing that? I guess what I'm saying is there's this giant hole. We're spending all this money on genetic researching. We're spending all this money on trying to find a cure for cancer so a big corporation can sell these drugs for... What did we read the Herceptin cost? I saw a range. It was $5,000 to $10,000. We're spending all this money on finding this cure, and I just think there's a hole in the world that needs to be filled and finding out why we're getting it. I understand why that hole is difficult to fill, because there's a million reasons. It could be deodorant, it could be food, it could be where you live, it could be all of this. And it seems to me that that's what people say holds us back, that oh, well, it could be all of these things. There's no way we'll ever figure it out. Well, how fucking crazy is that? What if we just said there's all these different reasons that ways you can cure cancer, we'll never find it out. You don't just throw your hands up and say we'll never figure it out. You have to try, and I feel like we have a big hole there in trying, and people don't try to figure it out. When somebody is diagnosed with cancer, why aren't they working to figure out what they particularly have used? It doesn't hurt to ask people. That's why I don't understand. I mean, there's a lot more I could say about that. What about the 3 women in my daughter's classroom who all have breast cancer? And obviously we're not all older, because we all have 10-year-olds. We're younger women. 3 women in one classroom are diagnosed with breast cancer. How is that possible? That it's not raising any eyebrows? And you tell it to that man at Johns Hopkins and he's like, oh yeah, 1 in 8 will have breast cancer.
Yeah, exactly. How is it possible that this is not more scary? This should be frightening people so much.
Raising people's eyebrows, not just shrugging their shoulders. You tell normal people, normal everyday people, that statement, and there's shock in their face. And you tell doctors, and they shrug their shoulders. And to me, that says something. The doctors are the ones that see this every day, and they know how bad it is. They should be the ones pushing for this database of information. Maybe I'm wrong. I've tried to look online to find where people are researching, and I did see a friend ask a question on Facebook, and people said, these people are trying to find that, and these people are trying to find that. But you can't find it very easily, if it exists. And it's obviously not very prominent. It's something that's not being studied very prominently because nobody asked me anything about my life.
You mean like when you go to the hospital, there should be a questionnaire with many pages about the details of your life, because it could be helpful in figuring out why there's so much cancer.
It could be helpful. Our conclusion is, I would love to find a way to make it exist.
The cross-reference database that would start the process of figuring out why there is so much cancer.
Why is this a growing problem?
That we can't really fight effectively,
It
seems.
The waiter at Brio, whenever you mentioned that thing about Ebola to him, you said, imagine if we said 40,000 people are dying from Ebola every year. There would be national panic. And his initial thought was, yeah, well, that's communicable. I can catch that from somebody walking around in the crowd. But I feel like cancer right now is the same kind of a problem. I feel like I just caught it walking in a crowd. Maybe not from other people, but I feel like I caught it from something I'm using, something I'm drinking, some place that I'm living. I feel that the same thing happened to me. It's just as risky, and I think that when you make everything become about genetics, which I do believe that has its place, if we all just believed, well, it's inside of our body and we just don't know when that switch is going to be turned on, then it seems less likely that you're ever going to get it. Because I knew my whole family never had cancer, so I didn't have to worry about that switch getting turned on. But that switch is being turned on by something. Where we are, where we live, something is happening to turn that switch on to more and more people. And it is just as scary to me as Ebola. It is just as communicable. I feel it is a communicable disease in that something is giving it to us. Maybe it's not you coughing on me, but it's me doing something to myself that caused it. I really, truly believe that. Do you believe that?
Absolutely. That is all very well said, Blonnie. This was a very good monologue. I wish this video could become more popular and inspire some discussion in the world, because nobody, I feel like 99.9 whatever % of us don't realize how serious of a problem this really is until you start experiencing it with someone who's dearest to you. I really hope what we're going through is somehow eye-opening to you guys out there. If we inspired one person tonight to do something about it, not just listen, but do something about it, make one step towards the right direction, all the effort we are putting in this fight is already worth it. So coming back to the subject.
Do I look fat?
Are you crazy? Trash it. Back home, all went well. Blonnie holding up good, although a little tired.
My leg's so heavy.
It's time for a nap.